Hello, BookTube, and welcome back to Garbaugust. This is the return, much like some sort of persistent fungal infection, of the worst event on BookTube. This is an event created by Ollie at Criminali. It is designed to celebrate trash, to wallow in reading trash. And last year, everybody loved Garbaugust, of course. Ollie assembled a big crew of co-hosts. I was one of those, and then this year he doubled the size of the list of our co-hosts, and that also included me. I have let the side down in the last week, or 2 weeks, 10 days, something like that. But I'm back now, and I'm free to make garbage videos until the end of August, when I may lay off the garbage for a bit. Once Garbaugust ends, it won't be like some BookTube. Some BookTube events, I go nuts on that thing for that event, and then I don't read it the rest of the year. But I have always had a steady component of garbage in my diet, in my reading diet. That will stay true, but I will probably back off on it for a bit. I've got a lot of other books commanding my attention. But today I want to talk about a 40-year-old book that I just found. I just read it. I found it at the Book Barn in Niantic, Connecticut. And it is my second swipe at a rare kind of garbage. Garbaugust is about fiction. It's about garbage. It's about trash fiction. Trash comes everywhere. It isn't just relegated to fiction. Any of you who've read bad history or crappy biography will know that. And I just feel duty bound to occasionally mix in some nonfiction, or some heavily nonfiction flavored fiction. So the book that I'm talking about today is a novel, but it's drawn from a lot of memoirs. It's drawn from a real life event. It dramatizes a real life event. It's Terror at Sea by Dean Ballinger, which has this really neat cover art. I wish I could find this cover art without all the artwork and use it as a desktop, as my desktop background. This is a novel about the USS Indianapolis, which, unless you study World War II naval history, the way that you will know the USS Indianapolis is the way I think that most people do, which is from Quint's speech in Jaws, where he reveals that he was on the Indianapolis. It was delivering the bomb. And on its mission was so secret that no distress call had been sent. So when it's torpedoed, all the men, thousands, hundreds of men, go into the water. And no one knows they're there. No one knows to send out an immediate rescue crew. So they spend a lot of time bobbing around in burning pitch and oil. And famously, they attract a gigantic crowd of sharks. And many of the memoirs that we have of these men, the sharks play a prominent role. The sharks went crazy with all this damaged, bleeding meat in the water. They just went crazy. I've mentioned that some shark experts wonder if maybe some of those accounts are exaggerated. I think when it comes to any kind of World War II memoir account, you always have to ask that question. You're not asking it with any disrespect at all, but you do have to wonder how much, whether or not over the years some of it was exaggerated, what it would be like to have pictures, to have video footage. But this is a novel about that experience. The men on board, we get to know some of the men on board, and we experience the loss of their ship, and then we experience the shark attacks. And it's quick and slangy and sensationalistic, in a way that the more the novel goes on, the more unseemly that feels. This is people dying horribly, and it's not the dying horribly that you get in a normal shark novel. I'm a big fan of normal shark novels. This is not a normal shark novel. These are people who had husbands or wives and children back home. These are real people. I haven't done due diligence yet on this thing. It kind of fascinates me, so I probably will. I haven't done due diligence to find out just how many of the people that Ballinger names were real. But they certainly come across. A lot of the dialogue, a lot of the descriptions of life on board and of what it was like in the water, very much read like memoir accounts. Read like they were taken from memoir accounts. I've read a lot of those memoir accounts, so it's possible that there's a lot of research here. I haven't double checked. When it comes to a novel like this, I don't believe the author. I double check on the work itself. But I want to read you a passage that shows what I mean. That as you're going on in this book, you start to get a little bit uncomfortable, right? In a way that you wouldn't do. You wouldn't get uncomfortable if this were just like a luxury cruiser that blows an engine out at sea and goes down, and a thousand people end up in the water and are steadily picked off by sharks in increasingly grotesque ways. If that were true, if there were a novel like that, I think I've read a novel like that, you wouldn't feel a growing sense of discomfort. And I did with this book, very much so, even though there are aspects of it that are literally right up my alley. I am Mr. Shark Guy when it comes to this sort of thing. But passages like this are what I'm talking about. No attack of one species upon another is more horrible to witness or more terrifying to its victims than a shark's attack upon a human. It has an almost deranging effect upon the witnesses. The sheer terror and ferocity of its attack are frequently more than the human brain can withstand. But its most horrendous terror is experienced by its victims. The sheer horror and physical agony of a suddenly bitten off foot or hand or whole leg or arm, of the sudden slicing of the flesh from the buttocks, or of a ripped open belly, its victim remaining alive while the voracious shark quickly swallows the first morsel and comes for another, are torture of the utmost degree. Sometimes before death ends the victim's agony, a shark will nibble him to an agonized, shrieking caricature, without hands or feet, devouring his intestines while he watches and screams for help that will not come, nor could it save him if it did. The sharks that attacked the survivors of the U.S. Navy cruiser Indianapolis were great white sharks, known to biologists as Carcharodon carcharias, and to natives and sailors of the Pacific warm waters as man-eaters. The great white shark's appetite is unbelievable. He spends most of his life searching for food. He cruises at about 4 miles an hour, his head turning from side to side until he smells something edible. Then he swims toward it as straight as a torpedo and almost as fast. With 4 to 6 rows of razor-sharp pointed teeth, he can snip off a leg with the tidiness of a surgeon. His stomach walls are tough as leather, and his digestive juices are so strong that a single drop will blister human flesh. Do you see what I mean? That's what I was talking about. That happens throughout this book. Well, that part, you probably noted it's the same as I did. The part that is just the worst. Will nibble him to an agonizing, shrieking caricature without hands or feet, devouring his intestines while he watches and screams for help that will not come, nor could it save him if it did. You're watching your own intestines get eaten. Read a lot of shark attack stories, lots and lots of them. I keep abreast of shark attack stories and never read a story like that. That seems taken out of the worst pulp horror fiction. And again, I don't object to that in this setting for this reason. Not at all. I can watch clips on YouTube of shark attack sequences in movies until the cows come home and are eaten. But I could not escape the feeling that this is that done as garbage. This is someone taking a legitimate tragedy and ginning up the garbagey horror aspects of it. I don't know, to sell books, I guess, is the feeling that I ended up with. Certainly that was the soiling feeling that attended this book, was that the reason that was done was to sell books. The story of the Indianapolis is horrifying enough on its own. So what other reason would you have to dress it up with, watching your own intestines get eaten, except to sell books, to use the melodrama to move product? That bothered me. That bothered me. I consider this thing really interesting, as a lot of trash is, especially the trash that, as I mentioned at the beginning of Garbaugust, I did a whole kind of Jesuitical breakdown of the kinds of trash in the quadrants of trash. I would call this bad trash. Certainly, I would put it under the broad umbrella of bad trash. If it leaves you feeling soiled or dirty, then it's bad trash, obviously. As even though that rule is subjective, that's definitely the case. Certainly bad for you. But I found that with bad trash, more often than with good trash, I am interested to probe more. And I have not done any probing on this book. I read it blind. I was not in a fact-finding mood when I picked it up. I was very sad. I was very melancholy. So I picked up something that I was hoping would be the kind of trash that really puts a smile on your face. It didn't work, but it is the kind of trash that makes me want to follow it up with research. Is this author a veteran? I find that hard to believe. If I had to guess, I would say that this author, if he was alive during World War II, was either a child or spent those years in the entertainment industry or hacking out books. I find it hard. I would be amazed if this author had a World War II, especially a World War II combat record. That would amaze me. But we shall see. That I won't subject you to the factual follow up. But that's your book for today, Terror at Sea. Found it for $1 at the Book Barn in Niantic, Connecticut. Couldn't pass it up. It's got a ton of sharks on the cover, but I think I would definitely qualify it as trash. Definitely, and not the good kind of trash that we try to stick to here on Garbaugust. So for my next Garbaugust read, I will go back to doing a Garbaugust read every night. For my next Garbaugust read, I may go to known quantities. I may go to trash that I know is the right kind of trash rather than exploring. I don't know that I want 2 bad results in a row. I don't think that I do. So anyway, that I'm back to Garbaugust. I would love to know, for those of you who don't have BookTube channels, although it could apply to those of you who do have BookTube channels. I'm not seeing quite as many Garbaugust videos from Garbaugust co-hosts as I would like to see. But especially those of you who aren't, the few of you out there in the world who aren't Garbaugust co-hosts, are you doing Garbaugust? Are you reading any trash? This is one of the best events on BookTube. Even though it's very young, automatically people said, this feels exactly perfect. Are you reading any garbage for August? If you don't have a BookTube channel, there's no way I'll know unless you tell me. So feel free to email me. I'm going to go, now that I'm not scattered my attention to the winds here, I will go back to leaving my email on every video. Feel free to email me and let me know how your own Garbaugust is going. This was a rocky resumption for myself, but I will confident that I will do better next time. So I will wrap this up for now, and I will see you then. Thank you, BookTube.